financing 6 or 7 households so that one property owner can combine their property, and I don't think that's something that the city should be approving. It seems to serve one as opposed to the common good there. I think that's all I have to say about it. So, thank you for your time. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you. And then we also have, is it Maris?
Yeah, I'm good.
You're good?
I'm good.
Okay. Those were our two public comment cards. Any further discussion for Ron?
Ron, just, so, the property south of, there,
So this is an existing east-west alley.
and is there a garage back there?
There is a garage that I believe gets access here. We are not proposing,
Where's he want to put his fence?
it would be on his property line, I would assume. So he would get all of this alley here, and he would get the easterly half.
We should get you a different point.
Yeah.
Yes, I am. He would get the easterly half of that alley. The property on the west side would get the other half. So the fence could be anywhere on his property, other than consideration for any utility easements that might remain.
So if he's got a garage back there, he goes from having an alley pulled back there to half an alley pulled back there.
I believe
Is that
the
right?
access,
The petitioner is here if we have questions for him.
the access, this garage, I believe, is from the south,
It's from the other alley
from the east-west alley.
that Mr. Smith just said is pretty much non-existent. Is that the one they said it was in somebody's yard?
An alley is a parcel
Well,
of
I'm
land.
well aware of the alleys in Greensburg.
And
Well,
whatever paving material may be on the alley, it doesn't define the locations of the alley.
So the east-west alley, is that an alley that kind of goes east of that too, that the properties goes halfway through the alley?
This alley right here, that,
Right here.
yeah, that's an alley, there's a building, appears to have been built across the alley?
That's what I was getting at.
Yeah.
You can still drive through it, I did the other day.
Okay.
Steve, did you have something?
Yeah, as a petitioner, may I speak?
Sure. If you wouldn't mind, name and address, please.
Yes. My name is Steve Adams. I'm here on behalf of our corporate entity, acquisition, development, and management. And the reasons for this requesting for this closure are multiple, but let me just hit a couple of the main ones. This was the former St. Mary's additional parking lot. As such, it was essentially considered a public parking lot. It is still being treated as such. It is our property, we are paying taxes on it, and we are constantly finding vehicles parked all over it. We've had significant theft and vandalism approaching $10,000. Bottom line, it's also we have equipment out there. You can see it from the photograph here. There is a trailer parked here and several other pieces of equipment. People are constantly going across the parking lot at an angle. It's akin to driving across each of your yards. Those are my yards. Yes, it makes it easy for people and for my neighbors to use my yard in any way they want. Actually, I don't believe that putting a fence there is going to inhibit, is going to hinder that turning radius. I pull a trailer in there myself quite often out of the north-south alley. And I have had no problem whatsoever, except when you reach my property, where you pull onto my property, utilize it. Basically, that's the summation of what, our liability for people. It's a playground. We would like to fence it for that reason. There are just many reasons, but bottom line, we need to be able to protect our property as well. So, thank you.
Just a thought, I mean, so if we didn't vacate the alley, but you could still add fencing along the alley, right?
I could fence the alley in tight, yes.
Well, I mean, well, yeah, so, but that way they can still access and use the alley, not your property with the alley.
Yeah, I could,
Well, he owns half the alley.
It's not vacated, it's vacant.
Currently, it's a city right, he could certainly put fences along both edges of where he owns.
precisely.
Um,
We're currently caring for all of it. We weed, we take care of all of it, including Railroad Street. And we even spray on the property to keep the weeds down on the railroad property. I'll appreciate your vote in favor of this. Thank you very much.
Any further questions for Ron or discussion on this topic?
I understand the concern, but I also understand if I were a property owner and I wanted to pull my camper through there, maybe it could make things very difficult. I guess
Steve, do you have any idea where you would put the fence, or could that be maybe negotiated a little bit so that if the turning radius did become an issue, would you be amenable to that discussion?
We really intended to put the fence.
Come on, excuse me, sorry, I should have asked you that before. But I mean, like, are we talking about the face of the south face of the building?
Yes, that's exactly right.
So it
For our
could be-
own utilization of the building, for that reason, the south edge of the building is probably going to be where the fence would go.
Are you talking 6-foot chain link,
That's
privacy?
what we have in mind.
Okay. Do you have?
And I have, the only neighbor that's really impacted, this garage comes out of it's a north-south garage.
Okay.
And then Mr. Proditis, Maris, has a garage here, it's a north-south garage as well. So we were looking at putting it at the south edge and leaving ample room there.
That would be great.
But, Maris, do you have any comments? Do you see yourself being inhibited in any way?
Well,
Go to the microphone.
oh,
Please.
the only issue I've got is,
And I apologize, I'm not doing this to be rude, when somebody comes back later and says who talked when and why.
by Maris
I-
Proditis,
Thank you.
I live with my mom in the house just south of the east-west alley, that right there. The only concern I have is if you leave the alley open and bring your fence from the corner of your building up to the alley, and then go north to Railroad Street, that would leave access to, for fire engines or trailers, anybody that wants to pull across that alley and still not be on your property. That's, you know, for fire engine purposes, that's my main concern. And they can make the turn off of South Franklin and come through that alley, but that'd be maybe kind of a tough one. And like Dustin said, to exit that east-west alley onto East Street, there's a pretty good dip there. I wouldn't wanna take a trailer through there. So, it is a nice alley to, if you don't veer onto your property and, you know, if you go all the way to Railroad Street and then turn onto Railroad Street, it works pretty well. But if that was all fenced off, there would be no way to access any of the rest of these properties from the alley coming off the roads.
You can't access from here, because I pull a trailer in here all the time.
Well, you could, but you couldn't go this way with a fire engine.
You mean come through here?
Come
and
through
go
here? No, you couldn't do that. You couldn't make that turn.
Could you come off of Franklin?
Yeah, you could come off of Franklin, you get
Okay.
in there, but then you couldn't turn here. Again.
Well, could you come this way and turn here?
But if you're in there, how do you get out? If you block that
Right.
alley? You've got to back out, is what you're saying, right?
No.
So how do you get out?
Well, again, we're leaving a very significant, we're giving up a portion of our yard.
Steve, do you know what that distance might be?
Go from the edge of this
From
alley
the edge of the
to the
building to the building,
Is it 20 feet?
oh, it's more than that. The alleys. How wide's the alley?
I mean, from the far side, the north side of that
So,
alley.
I think we've
This
lost.
is 36 feet.
Yeah, so it looks like a beacon, which isn't incredibly accurate, it looks like it's off a little bit, it says 10 feet, so we can probably say it's somewhere between 10 and 15.
Well, as I say, this is a 36-foot wide building. I think you can visually spin it around. You can see it's gonna be somewhat the same, 36 to 40 feet.
Yeah, including the whole alley.
Yes.
Okay.
But the alley's 15 feet wide, 10 or 15 feet
I
wide.
don't know what an alley is.
I don't.
16 to 20 typically, but they all vary a little.
But my main concern is just for fire engine purposes. That's-
I know that we kind of probably can't put the condition on it, but if Mr. Adams was willing to put the fence at the face of the building, does that change the calculus or?
Well, but how far over does it go from the face of the building over? Either way, he's gonna block part of that alley or portion of the alley, so it's not gonna be able to, right?
My question is, as on condition of the vacation, would you be willing to vacate it with the fence stipulation? Being at the face of the building all the way across? Or no on the vacation, or yes on the vacation? No.
Did I speak to that again?
Okay, sure.
Yeah. Just one quick point to what the conversation in the
Dustin-
previous.
Dustin
Oh,
Smith.
sorry, Dustin Smith, 225 Southeast Street. We talked about if you're gonna make a condition, then there's no vacation is necessary. If the fence is on the property that is already owned, we don't need to vacate the property. Once it's vacated, then you couldn't come back and say, well, the fence is lit halfway through the alley anymore. I just wanted to make that point. Thank you.
Council?
I'm speaking strictly from a safety standpoint, and I don't like the idea of the, you know, we don't have the exact measurements of those alleys and whether or not a fire truck can get through there to save 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 properties. I would not be in favor of vacating that alley.
Chief Sturmer, do you care to comment on the fire apparatus?
I don't know if there's really a question I can say that our policy, not to normally utilize alleys only because they're not public streets. So with the standards and the heaviness of the trucks and things like that, we run somewhat of a risk to that. What makes this a little bit unique is the fact that these garages do sit closer to the alley than the road, and so we do have a chance of utilizing those alleys if it was a garage fire. So basically just looking at proximity wise, it's going to be a lot easier to use an alley than it would a South Franklin or East Street for a garage fire there on that south block. However, driving through alleys and what I would call patrolling or just out driving around, we would not be taking our fire apparatus on those streets or those alleys for the sheer fact that we can't control what those alleys are. They don't street sweep those alleys, so obviously we can pick up debris and things like that, which obviously makes it a huge issue. So it's obviously the vote is yours. We do not make it a practice to utilize alleys. However, this is a little unique in the fact that all these garages sit closer to the alley than they do the main thoroughfares, which would incline us to probably use that. Now, again, without knowing inside, it's going to be dependent pretty much right when that truck pulls up. Is this thing going to fit or not? And we're not going to pull too close to a burning building where it damages our truck either. So it's very situational dependent. So I can't give too much clarity there, but I can throw a wrench in the works and say yes. With having rear alleys like that, the alley or rear garages in the alley, it could be a possibility.
Thank you.
So just for basically formality, I'm opposed to vacating the alley. I think we can allow them to fence their property without vacating the alley, but I'll make the motion that we pass ordinance 2023-07. I guess that's how we'll do it. In the proper motion.
Is there a second?
You have to make a motion to pass it, and then we can vote it down.
Second.
Well, I was gonna say, the other thing you can do is if it never gets a second, and it dies for lack of a second.
I think it's better to get a second. I think that was pretty affirmative. Any further discussion or consideration on this? Okay, all those in favor of the vacation signify by saying aye. Hearing and seeing none, all those opposed to the vacation signify by saying aye. Those, okay. The motion fails 5-0. Thank you, Ron. We need to go.
I was gonna say, I was gonna go ahead and bring it up.
Perfect. Go ahead.
I think we need to go back to the zoning map issue, 2023, 2023-04. In looking at it while we were moving through other stuff, I think we actually need to, rather than table it, I think you need to decide whether or not you want to recommend that it move forward to the planning commission. So what you're voting on is just that it goes to the planning commission. It's not going any further than moving to the planning commission, which you can't table it because then statutorily we still have to move it to the zoning commission next month.
I'll make a motion that we move resolution 2023-04 to the planning commission.
Motion's been made by Jamie, second by Kevin. That language will then all be incorporated into the second reading, into the okay. Motion's been made, second. All those in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed. Okay, perfect. Thank you. Apologize for that. Okay, we have a couple items. John Dooley from the airport is with us this evening. Sorry, John, we should have put you up higher. I hope you enjoyed our meeting. 2023-08 is the additional appropriation for the airport operations. They have attempted to purchase a mower with their funds that are in their accounts. And John is here to answer any questions should you have them. If not, I would take a
I'll
motion.
make a motion to pass ordinance 2023-08.
Yep.
Second.
Motion's been made by Jamie, second by Vieta. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Thank you, John. Appreciate it. We also have resolution 23-05, which is the transfer of funds. Which we are pulling, because that was the site, or that was the current deal, right?
Well, oh, yes,
2305 is no longer needed. That was the 10,000 for yours. Is that correct?
yes.
Okay. So we can stretch that. A few updates. We have the HWC downtown streetscape meeting that is open to the public on May 22nd at noon. It will fit in the business, or fit in the lunch hour. Anyone is welcome to attend if they like. We are also hosting an additional one for downtown business owners only to specifically address their concerns and talk to them about the plans going forward with that as well. It's on the same day, it's just at a different time. It will be here at City Hall. As a reminder, on May 18th, we have our first community cookout, which is from 6 to 8 on N.West Street at the intersection of Hendricks. Please feel free to come out. Everyone is invited to attend and participate. Also, a reminder, next week is Heavy Trash Week. We have sent out flyers via the utility bills. It has been on the utility bills. Mark and I did a very extensive radio interview. We have been posting it on social media. We've been talking about it everywhere. So hopefully the word is out about the restrictions, and we will see how that goes. And again, one more time, as a reminder, we're groundbreaking for the campus on North Broadway will start at 10:30 on Saturday. Please come out and join us. Everyone is welcome to attend that as well. We will start right at 10:30 and hopefully about 45 minutes be out of the way. And that'll be it. Anything else on those topics? If not, we'll go ahead and do our board updates, Jamie.
The Board of Works meeting tonight, Zeke Smith came, we approved a contract with Diesel Excavating for some stormwater improvements on Wilder Street. Josh gave us the same update from Veritas Group. Basically, we approved street closures for the On Eagles meetings 5K, that'll be on August 26th. We approved a part-time job description for the clerk treasurer's office. The police chief came and basically we approved some potential road closures on, I think it's May 22nd, May 23rd for the jail pod movement that may be taking place on Broadway Street. We approved pay application number 1 for the HVAC system. We kind of tabled our discussion on the police department policy book. That's just a huge book of just tons of policy, lots of fun. That way it gives a little more time to review that. We approved the purchase of 10 new rifles. And then we had a conditional offer of employment we're going to extend for an officer. Fire chief came and we extended a conditional offer of employment as well. The fire department, Zeke came back and we approved for wastewater, and we approved our annual contract with Strand. Ron came in, and then the 200 block West Washington Street, a stormwater study, we approved that study, and then Josh kind of spoke about the same things he just spoke about.
Questions for Jamie? Great.
You got to turn it over to you. I'm just a little bit under the weather right now.
It's been a good fundraising season for Main Street. They are headed towards their goals for the farmers market, which starts this year. Fourth Fridays will be back, or this month. Fourth Fridays will be back. Friends of Bread food trucks coming back. The holiday walk and small business Saturday are all under planning. So Rose and Allie have been doing a lot of great work. We are rolling out, we talked about this at the Chamber's Leaders and Loggers, we're rolling out a local gift card program through Main Street and the Chamber. It's called Love Local. It works like a digital gift card, so you can gift local dollars to local businesses that have opted in. I encourage everybody to go check that out. And then also the Stellar team is working on Yodel, which is a community-wide calendaring software that has kind of a cool back end that kind of gathers everything and puts it in one place. So there's been a lot of demand for that over the last few years, so we're excited to be working together on that. I think that takes care of Main Street. Yeah. Okay.
The Plan Commission, we did not have a meeting this month. Looks like we'll be having one next month. And then Economic Development Corporation, Decatur County has been 18th, the broadband for educating the county, and then tomorrow there's a, for lack of a better word, a job fair for seniors and business that should participate in high school for the seniors, so a good thing that Brian's worked on for those students, and that's in a nutshell.
You have the Opportunity Expo, which is, the city's gonna participate in. We'll have a lot of our crews there that have entry-level jobs, and I think they have about 50 participating companies. And it's for all seniors across the entire county, so it should be a good opportunity. Go ahead, Ed. We didn't have a solid waste meeting. Farrell, Redevelopment Commission?
Redevelopment Commission met last Thursday, and we spoke about the following: the RDC property marketing program that I spoke about last month. Data has been sent to Mr. Lindgren concerning the city of Greensburg, what we're looking for, et cetera. The the Development Commission, we will be having an executive session before the next meeting to discuss things before we enter into any kind of contract again. American Structure Point came, we gave them a contract to do a study for the multi-use path over State Road 3 and a feasibility study, and also will include Broadway Street from Veterans Way to State Road 3, which we own. The city owns most of that property. An update on the residential development project. The developer completed the wetland study, and it will be submitted to IDEM. Also, the preliminary plat is being sent to the Planning Commission for their June meeting. Yes, Kevin, you're going to have a meeting. And phase 2 of that plan will be submitted sometime in the fall. And then finally, public hearing before the next RDC meeting to talk about our comprehensive, or excuse me, our project plan list.
Okay. I've already given all the updates I think I have for mine as well. Anything else? If not, take a motion to adjourn. Motion been made by Carol, second by Brian. All those in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed?